There's a lot going on over in Israel. There's some confusion about what's actually happening in Lebanon. Israel is saying that they've achieved victory up there. I don't quite think that's correct. But so let me just explain. The IDF came out and said that they believe that they have accomplished enough of their military objectives in Lebanon that they can start to negotiate for a ceasefire. And now they have been really taking it to Hezbollah. Hezbollah has, in the last several weeks, lost all of its commanders, over 1,000 of its fighters, and probably thousands more have decided that discretion was the better part of valor and decided to just mosey on down the road and maybe not fight Israel quite so much. Maybe they're just not quite as excited about fighting Israel after they've seen what's happened in Gaza. So now they just named a new leader for Hezbollah. His name is Naim Qassem. And Naim Qassem is not a super excited guy, as you can imagine. Naim Qassem, his last speech before today, he was shown dabbing his forehead. He was sweating profusely, probably waiting for a JDAM to come through the window. He's not a charismatic character to begin with, but you can imagine that the threat of instant immolation from above might make you just a little less excited about doing your job. And better job you do at your job, the more likely it is that you will spontaneously combust. So he is keeping a low profile so far for the last few days. The defense minister in Israel tweeted out a photo of him congratulating him on his new position, but saying, "Not for long," meaning Israel's gunning for you. He gave a speech from an undisclosed location, and the majority of his speech was devoted to answering claims directed at Hezbollah for its conduct, because there are a lot of people in Lebanon who you can imagine are saying Hezbollah needs to go. There's a lot of our country that's being decimated right now because of Hezbollah's grand plans, and we'd rather not have that kind of conflict. We got enough problems domestically, and they do. Lebanon is in shambles. Their economy's in shambles. Their country's in shambles. Their politics are in shambles. And so this is not a good time for Hezbollah to be picking a fight with Israel. So a lot of the speech that Naim Qassem gave was just to talk to the people of Lebanon about what's going on. He was very apologetic in the speech. He wasn't a fiery, angry guy like Hassan Nasrallah, but he certainly pledged fealty to his bosses, the Iranian government. He tried to say that they were winning. He tried to make the case that Hezbollah is winning. Now, that's a pretty tough case to make, as you can imagine. Naim Qassem was trying to prove that Hezbollah is strong, they're defeating the enemy, they're winning, and they just have to wait a little longer. Just keep up the faith a little bit longer, and we'll win, Israel will crumble, and this whole thing will be over. That's obviously and demonstrably untrue in Lebanon and in Israel. So he's not fooling anybody, right? The most interesting thing is what he didn't say. He did not say anything about a ceasefire directly, but the way that he said what he said left a lot of room for a ceasefire. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the channels on Telegram and places like that are saying that right now Hezbollah is desperate for a ceasefire. One of the things that they're not saying is that the ceasefire has to be linked to Israel pulling out of Gaza, which is what Hassan Nasrallah was saying. They're saying, we just want you to stop hurting us. Basically, this is Hezbollah's position now. We want a ceasefire, and we want a ceasefire bad. And if you'll just stop destroying our stuff, then we'll agree to a ceasefire. Now, they are in many ways showing that they're just desperate for that. That is one way that you can know that Israel is winning against Hezbollah, because they are willing to negotiate now, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get a ceasefire. So Hezbollah has changed their position on that. That means you're winning. It's working, right? The only way to win a war is not to bring it to a draw. The way you win is to cause your enemy to get to the point where he begs for an unconditional surrender. And Hezbollah is certainly closer to an unconditional surrender today than they were just recently. They may not actually wait or keep fighting until that point, but they're getting there. Now, how do you know Israel's winning? When the United States starts telling Israel that it's time to stop. The United States has now floated a ceasefire proposal that will call off the fighting. Israel removes its troops, but they do not have to give up the ability to continue striking at Hezbollah if they see, for example, rocket launchers getting ready to launch, or if they know that there's an underground bunker system, or they know where a commander is, the things that they've been striking so far. Now, you've always heard me say that you cannot win a war with missiles. It's just not possible. And that's true in this case as well. Israel is not going to be able to win this war just by striking from above. Most likely, what they're going to probably end up doing is they're going to create a buffer zone, and that's essentially what they've been doing. They are wiping out anything that's a threat to them that's south of the Litani River, and a lot of things that are north of the Litani River. And they will probably create a buffer zone of at least a few kilometers between the Israeli border and the Litani River. So the news is saying that the Israelis have destroyed at least 1,085 structures, buildings, since they entered Lebanon, inside Lebanon. Now, that's a guess, because they're not allowing enough journalists into that area to actually count the number of structures that are being destroyed. They're destroying more every hour. So it could be twice that, it could be 3 times that, but it's a lot. Suffice it to say, it's a lot, all right? Irvine, California has decided that they really need to have a sister city, and they want it to be Gaza City in Gaza. Apparently, this idea was floated not by the mayor of Irvine, California. It was floated by the mayor of Gaza City in Gaza. Maybe the reason is because he's trying to get more publicity for what's happening in Gaza, for the fighting that's still going on there. Israel, every time they drop, it's amazing. You could farm the graves in Gaza, meaning all you have to do to get some graves in Gaza is drop a bomb on a big open piece of land, and within about 25 minutes, there's going to be 75 graves on that piece of land. The Gaza Health Ministry, which is run by Hamas, has just continued with its farcical representation of the losses that have been taken in Gaza. Every time anything blows up in Gaza, the Hamas-run health ministry claims 15 children were killed before they even get started digging out the rubble. There's no possible way they could know how many people were killed yet, and yet they're already claiming exactly how many children died. And they, of course, none of the people who ever die were actually militants. None of them. So if they're claiming that something like 47,000 people now have lost their lives in Gaza, and none of them were actual Hamas fighters, that tells you all you need to know. Just completely discount that number. The problem is everybody in the mainstream media is still using those numbers. The AP, MSNBC, CNN, they're all using those numbers as if they are fact, and they're nowhere close to fact. Now, I don't know exactly how many have died in Gaza, and neither does anybody else. The only numbers that we have any sort of possible decent idea on is the numbers that the IDF keeps of the guys that they shoot who were engaged in the process of shooting at them. And that's somewhere getting close to 20,000 now. So it is a lot, but holy smokes. If you're complaining about me talking about the book every night, I'm going to be talking about the book every night leading up to the election because I want you to get this information. The back half of the book is all about how to make your family safe in the event of localized or generalized unrest in the United States centered around the elections. I want to show you this video. I'm going to turn the audio down so I can talk over it and explain what's happening. This is in Washington, D.C. on Inauguration Day. These are anarchists or black bloc, Antifa, whatever you want to call them. And they are not good people. Okay? They're trying to smash windows. This guy right here takes his hammer to me later on in the video. You can see them trying to destroy things, smashing whatever they can smash, just for no reason at all. This kid's committing a felony and probably doesn't care because he's dressed just like everybody else. He's not even doing a very good job at committing that felony, but that's what he's doing. This is me telling the people, the firemen, hey, film this, guys. You want to film this? And now people start getting upset that I'm filming them in here. They're marching through the streets here, very upset. Now, this guy right here, this guy, he's carrying a hammer. Now, I'm filming, and in a minute, he's going to try to grab my camera, and I'm going to have to fight him for my camera. Okay? He sees me. I'm filming. I go past him a little bit, and he grabs my camera right here. We wrestle over the camera. I push him off, and I start saying, hey, man, I'm on your side. This is called verbal judo. I'm on your side, man. I'm on your side. Like, hey, leave me alone. And the guy's saying, stop filming. And there's no way I'm going to not stop filming, okay? Black bloc begins in a cell block. So they go on here and continue.
I just tried to grab my phone.
And over here, this is in front of CNN headquarters. They start smashing the windows of vehicles. This limousine here later gets set on fire. They burned these things later on. And this rioting and looting went on for hours, okay? Now, why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because I think this is a prelude to what we're about to see after the elections this year. I want you to compare what I just showed you, which was just a small snippet. This went on for hours. And they were burning things. They were setting fires in the middle of the street. I got assaulted about 4 times. They were assaulting police. Several hundred people got arrested. Those people were let out of jail within a very short period of time, a matter of hours to days. Most of them were not prosecuted. They got a trespassing charge or something that's basically like a traffic ticket that they just had to pay and they were done. Very few saw any jail time. So, in this coming election, in less than a week, depending on who wins, there will, without a doubt, be large protests in Washington, D.C. and elsewhere. That's a good reason why they are most likely doing drills for how to evacuate the White House and things like that. If Trump wins, the violence will likely be much, much worse. And so you need to be prepared because it won't stop the day after the election on Inauguration Day or the day after that. It is going to go on and on. So again, all you have to do to get the book, you can't get the hard copy yet because I didn't have time to put that out, but I wanted to get it out before the election. It's up on chuckholton.com and you can download it there. In order to download it, you just have to be a supporter of the channel. $7 a month to be a supporter of the channel, and you can cancel at any time. If you cannot afford the book, I got two options for you now. Number one is I posted on the channel a 30-minute podcast. It's a podcast about the book. And it's a couple people talking about the book, and they go into great depth and detail. A lot of the details in there will help you be prepared. If you want to get the actual book and you can't afford $7 a month, just send me an email. Connie will put the email address. Don't send it to Hot Zone Holton, because we're going to have Connie actually sending these things out now, or one of our other employees. So go to amy@holtonnews.com. Okay? amy@holtonnews.com to get the book. That's all I got for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate all of you. God bless you. We'll see you later.